like these big firms, even like Foster and Partners or like mass design groups, for the past years, a lot of firms were already doing commissions for healthcare facilities in like let's just say schools in Africa. Isn't this something similar to what Sir Will's statement was? It's like white, not really, like Western people, like architects with that grew up in Western culture, trying to design for people in Africa. Is it like in the same situation?
I think it's not about them trying, but rather us being able to criticize what they try to do rather than just accept, whatever they're presenting. So I think that exhibit was an example, right? When most of the local architecture scene was just kind of like clapping their hands and like, the blueprint and all that, right? So I think there's not enough criticism. So I think for me, I would welcome like ideas from anywhere, but I
Yeah.
think us ourselves, we have to be able to kind of like honestly criticize what we're getting, whether it's trash or not.
And also credit if it's really a good idea, even if it does
Exactly.
not come
Yeah.
from a Filipino. That's a very, very
Exactly.
important.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just be
So
honest.
very, very important. Yeah.
I haven't seen the project, but from what you're saying, I would get something, an idea of what's thought about. I saw some images of it. Yeah, I would agree. It was like replicating what that was there. Um, I would also like to say because we work a lot with communities as well, and we were working with this one community because practically Baguio, 80% of Baguio is like informal settlers. In a way, started with informal settlers and then they were awarded through the years because Baguio was not planned uh, to be that way. Uh, we didn't plan for those who will clean our streets. We didn't plan for those who were wipe our wipe tables. Serve. We didn't plan for servants. I guess it's an urban thing. We didn't plan for those who serve us. Because us here, we're talking about this. We're talking about it from a position of we're lucky. We're definitely lucky. We're the lucky ones. We can talk about it, and we can. All educated. We're all that. But for them, it's something it's their daily life. And when we were working with this one community, we were really trying to really trying to help them, and it was really difficult. We actually failed. We actually failed to help them. One, because it's very difficult to acquire funding. Um, they were because they didn't own the land and it was owned by somebody else. They were sort of squatters. So in a way, we become like we foster. We even foster their illegal, their illegal um, their illegal doings. Uh, uh, so that's the dilemma there. That's the dilemma there. So I guess so. I felt at that time we were so powerless uh, in that regard. When it comes to, let's say, when it comes to uh, versus, let's say, the government acting on this, let's say, the HLURB creating a development. So it's and we were even like we were designing, master planning a a, a development, and then we had squatters inside that government property, and then we saw all of the previous plans. They didn't tackle anything about the squatters, or the informal settlers. I mean, so they're not even in the master plan. So I was asking them, what do we do with the informal settlers? Did the master plan say anything about it? They are occupying 50% of our land, and we do not do anything about it. Uh, so I guess it's probably sometimes when we plan, we do not consider it. We just uh, sometimes it's just a lot of people just turn a blind eye, and then let's not deal with this situation. But we want a good building, we want something good, we want something like that. But we just turn our eyes away from them. So what we did was we included it in the master plan. We mapped all of the informal settlers, gave them numbers, we put them on the map, and we so it was dangerous because we were trying to map them. We were asking their names, and uh, they were very. But we were telling them we were putting them on the map. We were identifying them. We are not the ones who's going to be responsible. But the thing is, um, in planning, sometimes we forget about those who are under. And in that one project where we were trying to help the community, we taught them like mushroom growing. We taught them how to. That's what we tried to start off with because they didn't have any money. We also didn't have any money to help them with. We just taught them how to grow mushrooms, and then try to start from there. And then we try to fix your. Let's start by fixing the walkways. Then we just solicited cement from others, and then we just try to teach them. They do the work on their own. We design the steps. We design very basic stuff, and then we design a public space for them. We just poured concrete and gravel, and um, it was very superficial, but it helped the community. Um, um, but it but we failed because the people weren't uh, the mushroom project didn't go through. They were lazy, and they didn't take care of it. They just started for a few months. They were impatient. Um, so it's really it's in a way sometimes we might put kaya sinasabi ko kanina na we put ourselves too much, put responsibility on us a lot, and sometimes we couldn't help them. It's more all of us as a society will solve this problem. But we're just enablers, I guess. We're just there to help and try to do our best.
But I think though, Aris, that in that situation, you actually were not enablers, but you were generators because you were trying to generate something new for their livelihoods, right?
Yeah,
And so I think that's a different there's a difference there, right? That we architects can generate new ideas.
yeah,
It might not be the most flamboyant or like most beautiful thing. Because I really feel like, this idea or like our problems with public housing hand in hand with transportation is kind of like the holy grail of, urbanism, right?
yeah,
But in a way, it's really not an architectural problem. It's really much more political than anything. But still, I feel like, like the things you were trying to do with the livelihood projects and all that, I think we really have a we have a role to play, because we can come up with new things with simply with the exposure that we have that they don't, right? To give you an example, we are architects. We want to design good buildings, right? So we were doing a public housing for San Juan, but and so every time I think I remember like the guy in charge of the project was like trying to tell me like, oh, they're trying to cut the budget, etc. They're trying to downsize it or whatever. But for me, honestly, I think for the people who are going to be living there, it doesn't even matter that much. And sometimes we have to accept that not everything we do is architecture. Sometimes you're just building. And so I feel like that's my view on things. Like if we build 10 projects, maybe we're lucky to have one or two that feels like architecture. But then the social impact, of the rest still matters. And that's really all we can do. We have to keep reaching. We have to keep reaching and just accommodating because at the end of the day, the main problem of housing is not architectural.